Hey, what's up, y'all? Steve Ripbaum Brown here, and you're looking at another episode of Around Town with Almond Brown. And look, we're going to jump right into it. We're going to head around town up to Northeast Philadelphia with my guy, the one and only, our Supreme Court Justice, Kevin Dougherty.
How you doing, brother?
Welcome to the show, my man. How you?
Thank you for letting me be here.
Hey, no problem, man. So look, man, Around Town with Almond Brown is an opportunity for folks from around our city, around our state, to let our viewers, our listeners, our followers know who you are. Who is who is Kevin Dougherty? Tell us, man.
I'm just a lawyer that was lucky. Now,
A lawyer that was lucky.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
Now, what I am is I'm a South Philly kid, born and raised in South Philly. Traveled up to the Northeast to be with my wife's family and raise my kids. Came out of South Philly. First one in my family to go to college. First one to go to law school. What most people don't know is I went to this school called Antioch. It was a progressive law school, but your crew may understand this. We graduated, I walked off Howard stage at university, so people were kind of surprised at that. But the reason we did that was our law school was all about public service and making sure you took care of those who could not take care of themselves, most at risk and vulnerable. And that's what I became a lawyer for. First I was a DA, an assistant DA in Philly, then I became a defense attorney.
Okay.
Then 2000, there were like 11 judgeships open. Out of 33 lawyers, I ran, and I was lucky to win. And,
What court were you in back then?
well, then they asked me to go to criminal court based upon my experience, but I asked to go to family court because I wanted to I told everybody that's where I could do the most good. That's where you can work with at-risk children and families. And I stayed there my entire judicial career, 14 years.
So you had the opportunity to go to criminal court, which every lawyer wants to be in, right?
Right.
Everyone who wants to be a judge, I want to go to criminal court.
Right.
You declined to go to family court because that's where your heart is.
Absolutely. Yeah, they told me I was crazy, that I shouldn't go to kiddie court. And that was justices before me. And I said, no, that's not how I roll. This is what I wanted to do. And we did some great things. You got to remember, most people don't realize Pennsylvania, if you're 14 years or older and you get a judge delinquent of a felony, you're a convicted felon the rest of your life. Our prisons are so overcrowded, as you know, that we have to give numbers to get them into jail. It's called a prior record score. And, most points back then were 6. So we were looking at our juveniles in Philadelphia in particular, they were looking at State Road where our prisons are as opposed to State College where they ought to be, or whatever building trade. That being said, I couldn't just sit back and allow that to happen. So I wanted to get in there, and I was lucky enough to be the head of the family court, so we were able to make changes and do the right thing so that people get chances and second chances.
Oh man, see that, man? I like you even more now, man. That's what this show is about. Letting our folks know who our candidates are, diving a little bit deeper because look, we see the commercials, we see the ads, social media ads, TV ads, but it don't give you that right there.
Well,
and that's what's special about the show.
People don't want to. First of all, nobody really knows about judges.
Well, tell us about judges, man.
Here's the crazy part. People don't know about judges. We're not sexy. It's not like the governor or state representative. We're no Almond Brown. But what happens when you elect a judge, you're giving that judge a pen. And with that pen, that judge could take your children, can take your house, can take your money, and God forbid, that judge can take your life. And most people don't know who the judges are until it's too late. And that's when they're standing in front of one. And that's a problem. So the upside is if we give that pen to the wrong judge and something wrong goes, you could appeal it up to the top of the court. And I'm at the top of the court at the Supreme Court. And we take cases that we think are, is worth it. But that it's an opportunity to make sure that, you don't deprive people of their constitutional rights and you don't, take away somebody's freedom or liberty just by chance.
Let's park right there for a second. So let's educate our community on the different branches and levels of court. So you're currently a Supreme Court Justice.
Yes.
But can you break down the levels of state courts?
Yeah, think of it as a triangle. On the bottom in Philadelphia, we have municipal court. That's like people's court. You go in there for misdemeanors and preliminary hearings. And then you go to the Court of Common Pleas. That's what we all know as our trial division. That's where everybody goes in and you have a jury trial, you have a trial in front of the judge herself or himself. And then at that time, if you get convicted, you can appeal it up to the Superior Court in criminal cases. If you're a Commonwealth agency, you're the government, and you, other than the DA's office, if you lose, you can take it up to the Commonwealth Court. They're called intermediate appellate courts. They're two separate courts that handle two different things. The Commonwealth Court think only government. They deal with your paychecks, insurance, elections. Superior Court deals with any criminal case, civil case, family court case, and then the very top is the Supreme Court. There's only 7 of us on that court. Right now, I have been the only one from Philadelphia for 9 years, and then Dan McCaffrey just got elected, so at least I got another Philly kid up there with me to help me make sure things go okay in Philly.
So now, what kind of cases do Supreme Court handle? That's the $1 million question. When I'm out talking to my constituents, I'm like, hey, make sure you get out November 4th. Make sure you get out next election. Supreme Court judges are on the ballot. They're like, well, what does the Supreme Court judge do? What are the cases? Give an example.
The type of cases is we must hear anytime a defendant gets convicted and he's going to be sentenced to death. That case automatically, any capital case automatically comes to the Supreme Court. We can make sure that the trial was okay, that you're talking the most severe punishment, taking somebody's life. So obviously that takes priority. Then anytime it's like what they call a final order out of the Commonwealth Court case. So we take cases that are dealing with elections and the allegations of election fraud. But we also, for the first time, start taking cases that other justices didn't do, like custody cases and the domestic violence cases that really affect the common person. Far too often our court was only thought of taking the big cases that were for the rich and the business. And with the 3 of us getting elected in 2015, Donahue, Dougherty, and Weck, we decided we were going to change the way Pennsylvania reviews these type of cases, and we made it more of a people court.
So every 10 years, Supreme Court judges are up, right?
Correct.
They don't call this a re-election, they call this a retention.
Correct.
And we're asking people to do what?
Well, yes. Yeah, you got it. Here's what happens. The courts are just like the General Assembly, your area, and the governor, Shapiro's area. The 3 of us are the 3 branches of government. We have to run as a Democrat to win the election in Philadelphia. And that's what we did. But once we get elected and we take that oath, our job lasts for 10 years, where your job every term is 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, it's a shame.
That's a shame.
But then to make us different than you guys, because we're not politicians, we have to stand for retention, meaning we stand in front of the people of Pennsylvania and we ask you, it's your time to judge the judges. How do you think we've done? Do you think we represented the court well? And the truth is, if you don't see us or hear from us, that means things are going well. It's unlike politicians where you have to hear all the good stuff that they do. Or, God forbid, some nasty thing happens and they put that in the paper. But that's what separates us. But now, November 4th, only 12 days away, they're outsiders, people outside Pennsylvania who are spending lots of money to try to take away the 3 of us from having a job because they don't like some of the things that we're doing. And I guess
give an example of some of the things that you guys have done to help Pennsylvania that the outsiders believe that you're doing a poor job.
We're really increasing diversion programs, and we're trying to make sure if we can keep you from penetrating our judicial system, that's our job. We are the court of second chances. But the reality is, what most people don't know is that we make the rules for all the other courts, all the lessons, like all the courts that I told you about. And we want to make it sure that everybody gets their voices to be heard, or that you can come in for a substance abuse issue, you got a drug problem. That's why we have drug treatment in court. If you're a veteran and you have some post-traumatic stress disorder and you end up drunk and in a fight and you get held for a felony, we don't want to lock you up. We want to get you that help you need. Me personally, we've been working on autism. We're finding out that 1 out of every 33 kids is diagnosed with autism. The problem is, as you know, Philadelphia, we're one of the biggest, largest, poorest city. The most important word there is diagnosed. Most of our people don't know about autism, don't have the insurance, and I'm trying to make sure that the average person has an opportunity.
So tell us something that Pennsylvania don't know about you that you think we should know.
That's a good question. I think what Pennsylvania needs to know is that you can take the boy out of Philadelphia, but you're not going to take the Philly out of the boy.
Okay.
And, you know, while I'm up on that Supreme Court, I'm the one that's always going to be talking about how our rules, and you got to remember, we write an opinion. That's the rule for 13 million Pennsylvanians. But as a lawyer and as a trial judge, I make sure that whatever laws we have, that when they're practiced, everybody gets an equal shot. You guys, you got the majority by one because it's majority rules. The governor wins by majority rules. The court, we're different. Equal footing. Everybody has an equal say. There is no majority minority. It's you have your voice, you have that voice. We're going to listen, and we got to make sure that the courts are open and available. Like we started the autism program because we're finding out that many people come into court, and because they're autistic or on the spectrum, they can't really communicate like me or you. And the problem is, judges, even on the Supreme Court, we're only as good as the information we get. And if you can't deliver that information, or you need to deliver it in a different way, it's important that we, the court, do the right thing. It's the just thing to do. And I think my fear is that the outside, you know, these influences of outside millionaires trying to get rid of us, they don't like it. They want this country to start being like our state to be like what this country's becoming. And we don't want that. We really need it, you know. My fear is that people don't know about this election, or that young bucks won't, young folk won't come out and vote. But I got to tell you, I remember President Obama one time made a comment, and he said, he said, yo, you wouldn't let your grandparents pick your playlist. So why would we allow outside people determine who's going to sit on Pennsylvania's highest court and protect Pennsylvania if they can be bought? And that's for real. So got 12 days and everybody has to come out and vote.
So we're asking folks to vote yes. I'm asking all of our followers, listeners, to vote yes. But now, explain to people, if we don't get out and show up in tremendous numbers and you do not get retained. That's what some folks need to hear, because some folks might say, like I've been through personally in my elections, just because someone likes you and they think that you're working hard, they see you everywhere, they're like, oh, you know what? I can go to work that day, or I'm not going to be late. I'm not going to go vote. He's going to be fine. He works his tail off.
That's
right?
a problem.
And what I don't want for you is for people to be like, oh, his commercials were everywhere. Oh yeah, he's going to be good. Nah. We need you to show up and vote.
Absolutely. Listen, I've been going out about more people can name the Kardashian sisters' names than they can any one of us on the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, you know, people laugh at that. And I'm like, but for real, after you watch your TV show, life goes on as normal. If we don't get voted in December 31st, at the end of this year, we hang up our robes, we walk out that door, and we're never allowed to judge again. Now, like I said, being a lawyer, I'll be okay. But Pennsylvanians don't realize that they won't, because the governor can't get a budget passed with the General Assembly, the Senate. There's no way he's going to be able to get 3 justices appointed, because you need 2/3 of like what they call the Senate. The reality is we'll be only 4 judges left, and 2 happen to be elected as Democrats, 2 were elected as Republicans. You know, right now we're seeing across the country they're trying to take away voting rights. They're actually, the United States Supreme Court just listened to a case regarding minority voting rights under the Voting Rights Act, Section 2, which really permits the ability of minority communities to have a say in their government. Well, that's going to come to Pennsylvania as well. Same thing if you work for a union. They want to try to, make this a right to work state so that they can go back as opposed to moving forward. And I'm hoping that people realize that that's not how you want this state to be, and it will stay that way till 2028 when there's judicial elections.
Mm-hmm.
And it's frightening. I mean, I don't say that as a scare tactic. I say it because I see what happens. So the things we take for granted, your right to vote, your right to go get a job and get a decent pay, your right to work in a safe condition, your right to try to obtain insurance. They want to take away our Medicaid and Medicare, and we're trying to fight that. They're trying to take away a woman's right to decide where she could go get her health taken care of. This is stuff that you don't realize that that's going to affect each and every Pennsylvania. And for your listening audience, it's going to have a bigger impact because we're Philly or the surrounding areas. You know, we're a large minority community. And if we don't get, you know, the black and brown community come out to vote to make sure they're heard, we're going to lose.
Yeah, man. Well, I have faith in Philadelphia. I have faith in black and brown communities. I think we're going to show up just what's needed to get you guys across the finish line. And I know I'm working my tail off. A lot of my colleagues are out here operating phone banks, knocking doors, doing things in that nature. So, man, look, you got my yes vote. Your colleagues got my yes vote. And look, I'm just asking our folks, just vote yes, you know, to keep your life moving forward. Because like you said, we don't want to go backwards.
Look, I take nothing for granted, and I take no one for granted. You know, I know we're both from Philadelphia. Everybody out there is from the area. I don't take us for granted. You've always been with me, but I'm going to ask everybody listening. I want you to know, hey guys, I'm Kevin Dock. I'm hoping that you would vote yes for me on November 4th. Thanks.
Listen, y'all, this has been another great episode of Around Town with Almond Brown, and I'm here with my guy, Justice Kevin Dougherty, reminding you to vote yes for retention. Vote yes, yes, yes for all three of our Supreme Court judges, and vote for our Superior Court judges. What else we got on there?
We got David Wett, Christine Donahue, and me.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Alice DuBois, Superior Court, Michael Wojak, Commonwealth Court, and then you got two other Democratic judges, Brandon Newman, Superior Court, and Stella Ty, another Philly woman. She's running for the Commonwealth Court.
You heard it here on Around Town with Almond Brown, November 4th. We need you to exercise your right to vote and vote yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.